Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We are finally back. Finally back. We're going to be taking it easy for a little bit, probably focusing on some calmer games. Like what we're about to do. We're about to do some Powerwash. So, should be a good time. Just wanted to check the microphone real quick because I realized I hadn't checked it. My voice sounds a little bit off. There's still some lingering side effects from the sick, but it seems to be mostly better. So we're back to it. It will be Powerwash Simulator today. There's an Adventure Time DLC, and I figured I'd fire that up. We may follow that up with some of the additional content that they added as far as post-game for this. But we'll see. Before we do, though, let's check in with the kitties. We do have Ember sitting on the side table, eyeballing me because Sky's on my lap. And she can't get over here onto my shoulder without potentially, bumping into another cat, and that won't do. Oh, you gonna try it? Yeah. She was at least willing to jump up on the chair headrest. Let's see here. Sammy's over in the little plastic tote. It is box-shaped, and thus it is a place to sit. And Mason and Sherbet are up on the bed. Molly is down and right of my feet. I got a couple of cat beds that I put strategically to the side of the chair, which has Molly no longer sleeping on the chair wheels. Hey there, Tass. Welcome. I did see that we had somebody pop into the short form stream early. I don't know if they're still there. If they aren't, sorry I missed you. If you are, welcome specifically. Can't quite read the name from here. But let's pop in here. Boop. How was the what was it called? The thing, the Final Fantasy 14 thing. How did that wrap out in general, you think? Because the stuff you mentioned sounded good. So again, is Adventure Time themed? Let's see, I, Princess Bubblegum, hereby dub thee the Royal Candy Cleaner. The outfit that you have for this, oh, it looks like you have a special kit too. The outfit you have is very much a Candy Kingdom resident, a kind of ice cream cone looking creature. Sounds like a tough job, I know, but I genetically spliced you from the legs of a worker bee in the toughest donut I could find, so hard work is literally baked into your DNA. My friends Finn and Jake have volunteered, by royal decree, to devise a test to train you up. Do a good job, and who knows, maybe you'll get the royal seal of approval. That is one of the strange, kind of creepy side elements of Adventure Time, is a lot, if not all, of the creatures of the Candy Kingdom are created. They are engineered creatures by one of the lead characters. There is an antagonist that she makes, and that antagonist is freaky as hell. Like, very mentally messed up, and she actually arranged it such that he had some power over her. Yeah, we can see the fiddly little toy doodad here. Good old Twitch. Definitely profitable. You can see the silhouette of the character. It is kind of the long-limbed, kind of bean-shaped creature, but with a kind of ice cream cone splatted on the head as part of their body. Oh, wow. Well, that was quick and easy. Oh, we got BMO. You get an achievement for petting BMO. All right, what do we got? Basic extensions. We have the surface scrubber. Oh. So it mentioned that this was a staged mess, that this was a test run. Just as I started cleaning it, those are the silhouettes of Finn and Jake making snow angels on the ground in muck. Very cute. I know it's one of those things that has kind of like oscillated through intent, but setting aside the the use of that particular identity marker, the use of sexuality as an insult, as in that fashion, but changing the Y to an I doesn't change anything, folks. Nobody is fooled. None of the moderation tools will be really fooled by that. Oh, there's different noises to the goo. Seems pretty quiet. Let's check something here. Nah, just that tool is quiet. Hey there, Key. Welcome back. Jake. Hey, Finn, I hear sloshing, splooshing, and burbling. The Royal Candy Cleaner must have started already. Hey, Cricket Gamer. Welcome. Welcome back. We're just getting back from a long illness. I hear it too, dude. I know my voice is a little quieter or is a little muffled right now, but if it continues to be an issue, we can mess with that. Let's up the game sound a bit, though. Gotta be cautious with it, because if it gets louder, then it'll get too loud. But you know. But yeah, I think I had something seasonal, and it kind of, well, something seasonal, it went bad, and then it kind of interacted with my cough, and everything went haywire. So now it's back to kind of semi-normal, but my cough is wheezier now. Shelby the Worm. Somebody trying to grab some shut-eye in here. Oh, okay. We got near his violin. There are references aplenty already. Jake's viola. Adventure Time is an odd series. I would say, like a lot of its kind of era, or at least its... I wouldn't want to call it like a genre, but of its type, it's one of those that is clearly kid-friendly on the surface. But there are some themes to it, some elements in, like, especially some particular episodes that are very heavy. It suffers the same thing that a lot of them do, and that's that the early seasons are painfully kid-friendly. Like, essentially the pilot seasons are very much ensuring that they'll get picked up by the Kids Network. And Adventure Time never really loses all of that, but they eventually incorporate at least, I think, a greater deal of writing into the series. It never becomes really... It never becomes truly serious. Now, there are exceptions. The ending is really dark. Like, the final little bit of it is very dark leading up through a lot of it. But there are still large swaths of it that are just silly for silly's sake. And that's not against the setting. The setting is strange and whimsical. But there are things like the setting is technically Adventure Time is post-apocalyptic. It is a post-nuclear calamity setting. Every now and then you get to see the planet from outside. It is unclear if it's really... I can't recall if there's ever been anything overt that says this is actually Earth. But you occasionally get to see the planet from space, and you can see a massive chunk of it has been blown out. And most of the stuff that you encounter, most of the strangeness, is a combination of particular fantasy elements of the setting, as well as that sort of narrative catalyst event. Pretty confident that it's not actually meant to be Earth. There's too many oddball elements that don't really work. A great deal of that kind of thing, yes, Tess. And there are a lot of narratives that have again that they're silly on their surface, and there's potentially some connectivity for kids watching it, but you have things like themes of absent parents that aren't redemption-oriented. Finn, trashing our living room for Bubblegum's official test was such a great idea. Bin's icon is his backpack. I know, bro. How many chances are we going to get to empty the cupboards like that with 0 comeback? Think they'll clean it all? No way. I went over that slime stain like 5 times. Everything is also kind of toon shaded. Even the water jet, they gave it like a harder white outline and little like bubble splats along the path. This is not just a region. This is a full kind of, from a modding perspective, this would be kind of total conversion. Like a whole presentation change. Not quite, because you've still got the same core systems, but visually total overhaul. Good times, though. Good times, though. I mentioned earlier, there's apparently some additional maps in the base content, like effectively post-main storyline content they've added. Okay, the snail that's visible up there. I can't recall if it shows up after that storyline. But that snail essentially is a core vector from like the major villain of the series for a great deal of the series. Not even really like an actual antagonist, because they're not frequently present, but more of a existential threat for a great deal of it. The Lich. The snail gets possessed by him. Yeah, it's spoilers, but I'm sorry if you're watching me play the Powerwash Simulator content of Adventure Time. You're going to get some of that. Gets possessed by it, and it uses... it sort of... The snail becomes a vector for some major events. That snail gets... acts as a conduit for it. It gets the Lich's influence. Somewhere unexpected as a result. Early on, they introduce Billy, a sort of kind of a Conan analog kind of figure, the mighty fantasy warrior kind of character, that was known to have, I believe he was involved in sealing the Lich previously. Lich not being a creature that existed just in that time frame, but at some point, and I don't recall exactly how it plays out. Ha! He hides in his shell if you blast him. there is a reveal that the Lich has managed to, like, effectively the Lich kills him and wears his skin. There is a moment where it's the enemy is revealed, and it's that the skin on the upper portion of the head, like the eye and upper portion of the head, has peeled back to reveal the sort of, demon skeleton look of the thing. And it's another one of those, oh wow, this escalated kind of moments. And that's very early. It's one of those series that I think is worth a watch for folks to just kind of experience, but you need to you probably need to commit to doing it unless you're already, unless you already enjoy that kind of programming that it is overall. And that's that sort of well-crafted but still zany kids kind of stuff. Because there will be a lot of that, especially early seasons. It's like trying to watch Steven Universe. The first season is a whole thing. Like, it scans, the character is a child, they act like a child, but it is dialed up to 11. There's a whole lot of, I'm a zany random child character that's meant to be full of wonder, and I'm going to be a problem, and I'm going to make it yours. Like, it works. That is reasonable. It doesn't make it fun to watch. The tiny cooking hatchet. Can't remember if the hatchet got used in the bacon pancake song. Dude, chucking all that food made me hungry. I mean, I guess that's one way to clean out the fridge. We should have made sandwiches when we had the chance. Don't sweat it. I'll just stretch a leg in through the window and grab us something from the cupboard. Kind of hoping he would. We cleaned them out, remember? Besides, Bubblegum said no interruptions under any circumstances. So in a traditional fantasy setting, you often get these sort of, I can't remember exactly what they're referred to as in this case, but the earth, air, fire, water kind of elements. in a fantasy setting. In Adventure Time, they are a little more eclectic, and one of them is candy. And Princess Bubblegum is the kind of primal embodiment, the true elemental of candy. There is a sequence in which the elementals kind of go haywire. They're sort of untethered from their selves and just resume embodying what they are. And you get a real... From a lot of the areas, instead of being like these fanciful places, you get very much that sort of... the Wrinkle in Time kind of suburban area where everything is controlled and there's all order. It's the all shall be candy, all shall obey kind of thing. Picture of Jake and Lady Rainicorn, the very it is one of those relationships where it's like, okay, this is let's just say that there are like questions of physics, let alone biology involved. But the relationship of the two, there is a sequence where they emphasize, one, it's presented that, at least in the area that the Rainicorns are from, the kind of infinitely stretched wiener dog meets unicorn, the Rainicorns. And we're at like war with how they refer to it as just dogs. And at least on the surface, despite his supernatural stretchy abilities that ultimately reveal he's not actually a dog, it's that there is, put another way, they have one of those like old-timey white parents being introduced to their daughters, non-white boyfriend, is how it's presented. It ultimately ends up that the characters involved are not, that the parents had no issues with it and actually are really like totally on board with it. But there's that constant tension of it where they are trying to, where Jake is trying to navigate the idea that the parents would have an issue with that this would be a real problem for them. So again, heavy theme presented in a very lighthearted show. Do they lean into it fully? Do they really explore the entirety of it? Absolutely not. Well, that D20 is going to be a problem. Can I pick it up? Yes. I wonder. Almost. We have a mission. We got to get the 20 to show up on the top. This is important. We need to see what happens. We're going to spend time on this. It's going to happen. I wonder. Maybe we can make it easier on ourselves here. Oh well. Kind of disappointed. Actually use a wider nozzle. So hungry I could eat your shoe. Gross, dude. My shoes are stink nasty. That is a criticism that you'll see a lot of times for folks saying, like, doing these essentially the it's popular, thus it must be bad kind of commentary. You know, I could eat them both and your socks. Is Finn's odd, like, terminology. They're right here for you, bro. Catch. Finn has a lot of just like random things that he calls out. Now we do get like odd terminology used by some of the other characters, but it almost seems like a great deal of it is Finn being kind of infectious. Hello, Open. We are playing the Powerwash the Adventure Time DLC for Powerwash Simulator. This M. So there is a character, Marceline the Vampire Queen, who is, I'm gonna say, she has a whole lot of plot thread. She has a whole lot of story arcs. Hello, Sleepy. Marceline gets a lot of story arcs. And has strong narrative ties to both Bubblegum as well as the Ice King, who is inevitably going to show up. And her relationship with the Ice King is, I think, just tragic as far as how it ultimately plays out. her relationship with the Ice King is very strong themes of dealing with dementia. Why is there a power wash simulator? The same reason that there are things like Farming Simulator. Power Wash Simulator is a notable difference in that it has a strong narrative. I mean, the DLCs often are standalone goofy things, but the core Power Wash Simulator has a plot, and it's way more involved than one would think. Why are we playing it? Because I find it fun and relaxing. Yes, this is Power Wash 2, Jason. Yeah, specifically the Adventure Time DLC. Power Wash 1 had an Alice in Wonderland as well as a variety of them. There was like Tomb Raider. There were all kinds of little crossovers. There's even a SpongeBob one. But this has been the most like dramatic transformation as far as like the whole toolkit. I think. Actually don't remember much about the SpongeBob one. I know there was a lot of change in the SpongeBob one. My favorite part of the SpongeBob DLC was still the invisible boat car. The superhero joke character, which is like a mashup of Aquaman and Adam West Batman. The vehicle that he drives is the invisible boat car. A riff on the Batmobile and Wonder Woman's invisible jet. And as per normal Power Wash rules, it is filthy. Terribly filthy. But as you wash it, as the filth goes away, it reveals invisible under it. So it's the car ceases to be visible to you the more you wash it. Bemo's a strange little creature. Initially, Bemo is introduced largely as just a sentient game console. Bemo gets some, is a frequent presence, has a couple of storylines in the actual series, as well as a whole spin-off series. It's Distant Lands was the spin-off. One of Finn's swords. I wouldn't be able to tell you where in the narrative that one shows up. But the sword that Finn has is a actual, like, narrative progress indicator. Like, which sword he has is an indication of where you are in the story. As well as the state of his sword arm in general. Yeah, Bemo has a story arc in which his origin is encountered. Like, you find out where BMO is from. Ah, okay. So this is Marceline's guitar. Her axe. But the goo on it is the same sort of goo that is her father's blood. Oh, there's Marceline. Wait, someone's playing my bass. I can feel it. Oh, actual image of her. Nice. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna... I don't think your shoes are gonna cut it. I'm gonna eat the entire treehouse instead. Yeah, better hurry up, because I'm about to eat the entire grasslands and the Candy Kingdom. Have to do it inside my tum-tum, because I'm about to eat all of even the vapor swamps. Why are there chat bots? In the lower left, you mean? Like, the actual text here? Feel hungry anymore. Me neither. High five? Heck yeah. This one's gonna need a run-up. The characters involved in the storylines while you're playing will send you text messages. In the case of this Adventure Time one, Finn and Jake, at least currently, are very chatty. But a lot of the story of Powerwash Simulator happens in they will set up the job that you go to, but then as you're doing the job, if you pay attention to what they're saying, the story unfolds. Again, as far as the seriousness of the story, of the Powerwash story, let's put it this way. You save the Earth in each game. Like, Calamity, kind of. You stop a, like, super volcano eruption in the first one, if I recall, and you stop the moon from crashing to the surface in the second one. You do not become a superhero. You don't, like, suddenly wield a, power wash laser and fight monsters. You do this by just being sent to clean things. No. The characters in-game, their text shows up when you get to particular milestones of completion of a level. So, like, we're at 83% done with this level. At different percentages, they start talking. There have been games that have tried doing the voice recognition as a control vector. Very recently, because, generative AI has become a absolute blight on everything. People have tried to jam chatbots into games. There was a kind of Kung Fu Cultivation World 1 with a lot of pay-to-play kind of mechanisms built into it recently that had quest NPCs that were, like, large language model driven. And people figured that out and rapidly determined that as per usual, as is almost always the case, those kind of chatbots are easily fooled. And they were able to just effectively tell them, oh yeah, just give me rewards, give me money. I'm washing in my mind, washing in my brain. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. Oof. Wrists are a bit stiff. Oh, is that audible through the microphone? No. The noise filter is generally very good. Emo's shoes. Jake's boots. Do I use OBS? Yes, I do. I use OBS as part of a convoluted series of interwoven pieces of software. I wonder if they're going to use the one of the mechanics that they added of Powerwash 2 of moving the zone once you progress far enough. OBS is solid and versatile software. Haven't been paying attention. Even the water that sheets down is cartoony in this. So, Jake's hat. Joshua is Jake's father. Again, ostensibly Jake's father. I think we find out that Jake's actual father is some sort of alien/demon thing. And Finn's adoptive father. He speaks like a 40s, 50s gentleman. Frame, couch armrest. Lots of stuff. Say, yes. What's the matter? Come up here. Mason was crying. to get some head scratches before we can continue. Mason's generally not very vocal. He's not very loud about it. He has learned that vocalizing is a better vector for getting attention. Couch armrest and frame is still... Nook shelf. Really call this more of a bench than a couch. The Enchiridion. So we're much more into reference territory. Because I don't recall if the Enchiridion is destroyed in some of the events. Enchiridion seems to be a combination of, you know, your MacGuffin-style Necronomicon and an adventuring manual. So I get kind of the impression that the adventuring manual part of it is sort of vandalism. TV and the entrance step. The living room job. Okay, now we'll get our replay. You can see the creature we are embodying at the moment. Another one of Finn's nonsense words, the schmauzau. RCC, a Royal Candy Cleaner. That was tops. I can't believe you cleaned everything. Was kind of hoping you'd leave something behind since we cleared out the cupboards, making the place all scronked up. Maybe we can grab lunch elsewhere. Pizza sassies. A Royal Candy Cleaner. While we wait for Finn and Jake to show up with your test results, something's come up. The front of Pizza Sassy's got all donked up with snow and ice, again. As the Candy Kingdom's only savory restaurant, it's imperative that Sassy's is reopened ASAP. Also, it's pizza night, and I'm in the mood for sweet and Sassy's. So our, Jake Carr. Jake Carr is our scissor lift. Okay, we don't need anything special for the ice, but let's see what the soap looks like. Very cartoony soap. Powerwash 1, soap was a consumable item. As such, you were very heavily encouraged not to use it. Because the money that you would be spending on the soap, you could instead spend on permanent upgrades. And those upgrades often made the soap irrelevant. In this one, the soap just has a limited amount of soap that can be in play at once. And it weakens whatever dirt you hit it with. So once it's covered in soap, it's generally just one pass with the sprayer. You're a penguin. So the animal sidekicks of the Ice King are his penguins. In particular, there's one penguin, Gunther. There's our snail again. He is not currently possessed because he doesn't have the hollowed out green eyes. But the presence of the snail was actually, when I mentioned that the possessed snail was a kind of a vector for the lich to get around, the presence of that snail, if you go back, you can see that snail is hanging out. But the reason I bring up penguins is you have Gunther the penguin, who is the kind of recurring named penguin that is with the Ice King. And Gunther is actually some sort of like interdimensional eldritch horror that is trapped in a penguin body. There is one episode where it starts to get out and his head kind of ruptures and it looks like brain is sticking out. But that is just the part of the creature that hasn't unfolded out of the body yet. I can't recall if by the end of it it's that Gunther is, that the creature is recontained inside Gunther or that the creature that was inside of it has been banished. Don't recall. I'm going to get to the bottom of this snow and ice thing. Should be able to use a wider nozzle now. Yeah. Want to help me with the investigation? I'm already finding prints on everything in here. Hey, dude, I'm gonna hang outside with RCC. All those swooshes and suds are making my brain tingle. Hey, bro, I'll let you know if I find anything. Like, Finn and Jake are willing to go places and do things, but they're not especially competent. Like, again, there's a big aspect of everybody just kind of playing along with them. Or at least the major players. The people of the Candy Kingdom are just stupid as box of rocks. They need assistance not to die. Oh, yeah, there they are. So those things are the gumball guardians. They are like gigantic constructs that protect the kingdom from actual threats. And at least one, they're subverted. The ice is pretty resistant, which isn't surprising. I mean, you generally don't pressure wash ice off. Again, do we need to use the suds? No, but it's kind of nice. I think they're neat. From a gameplay optimization perspective, the question is, can I clean the surface fully in the time that it would take me to do 2 quick passes? So what is it, 1 slow pass or 2 quick ones that will end up being faster? And I would say, in general, just moving steadily with, like, the yellow and green nozzles is more than enough. But if you aren't upgrading your equipment frequently, the soap becomes more and more valuable as an upgrade. Really a nice, relaxing experience, though. One of those chill kind of ASMR adjacent games. Very cartoony. I like it. Very agitated behind me today. different types of dirt and muck in Powerwash will have different particles that can kick up when you scrub off an area. If you watch little, again, kind of cartoon ice crystals will pop away, little multifaceted shards. I wonder if the things that are unlocked are scaled with what you have unlocked in the base game. For the most part, the trident nozzle in the base game is pretty much all you ever need. If you're too close to the surface, it's not as effective. But between the yellow and the trident, you pretty much have everything that you need. Which is a shame, but it's effectively the end game stuff. So if you have the option, you've already got all the upgrades. Like early on, the floor washer is useful for coverage, but it's kind of awkward to use because if the angle and distance is wrong, then it doesn't connect to the ground, and the washers underneath it are very useful when it's on the ground. They're not effective at any distance at all. Scrub away. I was mentioning, we'll probably be on a gaming kick for a little bit. Taking a good opportunity to step back from the coding of the game for a moment. And try to kind of recenter what we're shooting for with some of this stuff. If for no other reason than to try to get new ideas, you know. Pizza Sassies, building covered in ice. What happened? Freezer door left open? So there's a guy that is constantly a problem that covers things in ice. All I know is that we shut up early after a huge order cleaned us out. When we went to open up this morning, this is how we found it. I have to take a closer lick. I mean, look. I mean, I guess it could be implying he's going to try to, like, steal some food, but they make pizza. I feel like there's some sort of, like, social offense that has happened when you describe in any form the actual, like, consumption of pizza as a lick. So one must hope that isn't happening. The change with the scissor lift as being Jake, it's part of it is showing the Jake makes himself look like complex things at times, but it's not actually a machine. There's every part of it is just like, it's kind of like injection molded plastic as far as how it looks. None of it's actually functional. He is just changing his form, his stretchy, pliable form to look like it. There's actually an episode where they emphasize there is a limit on how big or how much he can stretch out. And on several instances, they also call out, like, he has physiology. There are internal organs inside of him. There is inconsistency in that he can make himself very small in this, so he can smush his organs down. But there is still even a limit on that. At least once he has avoided being lethally poisoned by, like, shifting all of his organs over into his thumb. And, like, pinching his thumb off from the rest of his body at the moment of the envenomation, you know? But in the one where they demonstrate that he can only stretch so far, it mentions that he has... eventually he stretches himself so thin, it's like it's just pencil thin with the eyes bugging out, almost like he's cord stretched out. Talking about how his organs are nearly being smashed entirely by not having any room to put them in. Not terribly consistent. They take themselves seriously sometimes, which is fine. Again, it's a very high fantasy setting. You have to expect a lot of nonsense, even above and beyond the kids' show aspect. Getting there. There was definitely some collateral damage to the ice here. We also have dirt with the snow over on this side. Wonder if we had multiple different incidences happening simultaneously. So far, the snail has shown up twice. I wonder if the snail is going to be the equivalent of, like, the cat in the Yeti in the base game. In the first game, the presence of the cat was a common element. And I believe the Yeti also made appearances in the same way, the giant footprints. You also have the lawn gnomes that there's a strong implication that the gnomes are alive and moving around, but that they there's a strong kind of weeping angel aspect to them. They seem to be lawn gnomes until you catch them, you know? Make up your mind, Ember. Yeah. Ember's a little upset because her claws needed trimming and her chin needed cleaning. So she needs reassurance. They do a decent job with faux 3D in some of this, where based on perspective, they can make some of the textures look like there's a little more depth to them. There was like a little globule of snow on the ground. The soap is clearly flat, and the way that it slides down doesn't help that. But you can see effort is being put into that kind of thing, is that they're trying to, where possible, make it look like it is not just a flat texture. It's not uncommon or unique to this game in any fashion, but it's still a nice touch. We'll have to do some power wash parkour to get up and get all of it, but Starchy, welcome back to the Graveyard Shift, folks. I'm your host, Starchy. Starchy the Gravedigger, one of the candy folk. He's also like a janitor, but he has a podcast. So much unexplainable weirdness has happened since the last show. I don't know where to start. It's because I forgot my notes. Or did I? Or is someone trying to silence me from beyond the grave? Either way, better go find him, back in a jiffy. Starchy was involved in the zombie apocalypse episode where a concoction that Bubblegum is trying to make ends up creating essentially pathogen zombies. If I bite you, you're infected and rapidly become a zombie kind of zombie. They're full on like oozing, melty, glowing, green-eyed, trying to bite zombies, and a lot of the scenes are presented in the fashion that you get out of like gore-fest zombies. It's ultimately, I think, the thing that works for most of these, and it's an aspect that a lot of companies clearly understand exists, but can't quite seem to grab. This happens a lot with movies, is even if you are presenting it as a media that is for kids, there are either going to be adults that have to watch it in order for the kids to watch it. So if it's something released in theaters or even that you watch in the household, generally there's a decent chance the kids aren't going to be watching it just themselves, at least initially. So you want it to have stuff for the other viewers. You want it to be such that it's not just, this is painful for me to watch, but I'm watching it because kiddo. It is commonly what is attributed to the initial Shrek movie's successes. Discounting the recent one. I've heard that the recent one, which I haven't seen, is pretty good in that regard. Eventually I need to watch the newer one. Not every day that you get very strong themes of coping with mortality in your kids' properties. So for the normal game, I changed it so that the dirt detector, the filth pulse, makes everything bright pink, briefly. But I may not be able to use that if we're sticking around the Candy Kingdom for too much longer, because bright pink is a color in the kind of the basic palette of this area. And the reason that I chose bright pink over something like the yellow was that in the basic game, you're often in areas that yellow can blend into. Not fully, but because of the light in some elements of the setting, often it doesn't stick out as much as it could. Go here. Nope. Nope. There we go. Powerwash parkour. Probably some on the other sides, but can't quite reach them from here at the moment. Every now and then you also just had like really just strange episodes of the show. Not like off the wall, isn't this a silly adventure? I mean just, oh, that's weird. Verging on unsettling. In one, Finn gets his legs broken by a what is initially presumed to be a wild deer. Like, kind of brutally, but his legs get stomped and, like, they both snap right in the middle kind of thing. So he ends up in a cast from the pelvis down. But it takes a long time for him to recover. He's, like, ill for a protracted period of time. And when he comes to, it's implied that a great deal of time has passed. There's there's junk buildup in the streets. There's nobody seemingly around. It has a real Rip Van Winkle kind of, I woke up after the apocalypse almost vibe. Jake, I believe, got knocked on the head during this, and now is kind of... Jake becomes convinced that everybody is hiding for a surprise party for his birthday, and increasingly interferes with Finn trying to find everybody, because if he finds everybody, it will ruin the surprise. Strange, but this is where we are. Finn has woken up, nobody's around. Jake is clearly concussed and is delusional. Eventually, what we find out is that, they encounter that deer again. And when they do, the deer stands up on its hind legs and pulls its forehooves off like gloves. It has been kidnapping the Candy Kingdom people. And then, it's almost got like an Alien's hive vibe. It licks the candy people and sticks them to the wall. And there's this almost like amber resin that is starting to form. This is one of those creatures that appears, is very unsettling, and then that's it. We never speak of the deer again. One of those internet kind of film critique channels. I believe another one of those ones that fell from grace after they became really popular, It's a grab bag. That descriptor fits a vast many of them, so, pick whichever. But they used a term that was big-lipped alligator moment. Which was a reference to a Don Bluth film called All Dogs Go to Heaven. Very interesting series. Another one of those exploring mortality kind of kids shows. And the big-lipped alligator moment is that there is a point at which, through a series of events, they are thrown down in a sewer, and they encounter a gigantic alligator that proceeds into a musical number. And I believe this is the only musical number in it. No, there are a couple of others, but it is one of them. It is this gigantic creature. It has a song with them, and they escape, and it is never heard from again. It is never mentioned. The whole concept is now gone. And those kind of things can be very interesting, I think, in a setting, because they create that feeling of you don't know everything. Like, everything is not a rigidly, fully known and described cosmology. Now, the fact that nobody addresses it, like none of the people that were involved, have anything really to say about the circumstance is, I think, the more telling aspect there. Oh no, what was that? And, everybody shrugs and just like, crazy stuff be happening, is kind of par for the course of this series. That. Oop. Little pop noises when you pick up the ladder and put it down. Jump noise. But on that line of thinking, it's like one of the core premises. What we are playing, the Royal Candy Cleaner. This is one of those. Nobody in the setting really thinks about it because it's a thing that is. But from the outside, she has created a sentient creature and has said, this is your mission. But remember, our first one is, this is a test run. She has created a living thing and has effectively told it, yeah, we're going to see if you work out. Some of my goofball friends create a test for you. Better do good. Now, it's not that bubblegum generally doesn't do the, well, you're not good enough, I'm going to dispose of you kind of thing. But you do get that, like, hey, I was messing around and decided to create a sentient thing just offhandedly. And that is something that, Starchy, I've got one for you. I've just walked past Sassy's and it's almost exactly half covered in snow and ice. We're at about 60%. Like, we're on 60%. Half covered. Does it get any weirder than that, folks? We've all heard of things completely covered in something, like an orange being covered by a peel, or a ghost completely covered by a sheet. But half covered? But yeah, there are aspects like that, and I think that's one of the things that makes these shows is that they are bright and colorful and fun enough that they fit the kind of U.S. cartoon demographic that they're often made for, or that they are pitched for. But that the content makes it so that often it feels like there's substance to it. I mean, recent, very kind of direct, or at least not having to pitch it to a network angles, or the traditional kind of network, Digital Circus. Especially, like, they're not as soft about the disturbing elements early on, but it still has a, there's goofy stuff happening. This is a little approachable. But then there are very dark elements and references. Now, the most recent episode that has been released, I love that the finale is going to be, like, theatrically released. I know there are people that are upset that they're not going to get to see it as soon because of the theatrical release, but I do agree with the publisher that they have, the smaller publisher that they have, that getting a theatrical release of an independent vehicle like this, let alone an animated one that up until now has lived entirely on YouTube, is a big deal, and they want it to they want that to be a success. They want that to stick. But boy, that most recent episode, they went hard. They'd been building up a lot of, like, sinister themes to that point. And the payoff on this most recent one was quite heavy. Is the sibling to kids can watch it, like kids watch it and, you know, adults can watch along because they're effectively getting a different experience at the same time. This one would be, you know, hey, the kids could probably watch along and they'll miss most of the stuff up until this moment, at which point, here's a number for a therapist. Supposedly, and made very apparent by the most recent episode, the creator, the writers for Digital Circus took a lot of inspiration from I Have No Mouth, But I'm a Scream. Short story and game to that effect. Which is a very heavy story. They very overtly call out the connection during a musical number, which includes a line that is, "No need to scream if you don't have a mouth." Is random discussion topics and power washing day. Recently found, let's see, it's on Crunchyroll. What is it called? It's like Lord or King of Mysteries or something like that. Anime styled Chinese language show that presentation wise, it has the sort of Victorian England that usually goes into steampunk. This doesn't have that. Instead, it has like Bloodborne meets Kung Fu cultivation kind of stuff. Like gothic horror sorcery kind of stuff paired with the idea of through like practice in alchemy, ascending in power and divinity. Cultivation stories generally are things like through particular like types of meditation and martial arts practices and the like, you kind of strengthen your spiritual self and your physical self. And it is knowing what those techniques are become elements of those like schools and sects and whatnot, where it is, the dragon school knows the ninefold path of the north winds, and that makes them strong. It's not just that they know a particular way of punching, it's because they know these secrets, they can become supernaturally stronger than their rivals. It is a novel, like literature novel genre that has seen some further development alongside the lit RPG genre, because they have effectively similar DNA. They both have these, a structured system for increasing one's power. I've also seen different terms used for lit RPG. I think because there is some meaning contamination that can happen there. Because there is a story that takes place in an RPG world. So there are where you incorporate aspects like I'm living in a Dungeons and Dragons world kind of stuff. There are adventures. But there's also scenarios where you have, I'm living in a D&D world, and there are actually classes. Leveling up is a thing. It is not just that, you become a better swordsman. It's that you've leveled up at swordsman. In the same vein, the cultivation stories, you could just have they've learned the technique, or that they have been studying martial arts, but it is the aspect of, there's also the aspect that overlaps with those, put it another way, incremental advancement or power is a term that's also used with those, where there is a distinction of being like a level 3 cultivator or a level 5 wizard in the world. That means something. And like any genre, how much the story centers around that is part of how the story utilizes that part of that piece of itself. I like those kind of worlds. I think they're neat. But they often suffer from power creep and breaking promises, let's say. So a big aspect of any power progression story, whether it is a leveling system kind of story or just your classic kung fu threat escalation narrative, is keeping promises. And I don't mean narratively. I mean from a world building and writing perspective. If you say that a fireball, that the Street Fighter Hadouken is a weapon of this power, that it is capable of this thing, and these are the requirements for using it. If you subsequently remove those requirements or change what it is capable of without sufficient justification, and just do it harder isn't sufficient justification, on its face, then you've broken a promise. You said that's how the world worked, and then you pulled it away without making it feel like that was a substantial reversal. It's one thing to say everybody thinks it works that way, and then you reveal it doesn't. It looks like it does, but there's a difference. That can be interesting. You have deepened the setting and revealed that the thing that was said to be true was not accurate. Like, it seemed true, it looked true, it matched all expectations, and it will continue to behave how it did under the old circumstances, but under the new circumstances it behaves differently. So we're gonna go back to the old well of series that don't do this well. Dragon Ball. Especially getting later into Z, there are a couple of mechanisms that do this, but the Kaioken is an ability that a character learns that is described quite explicitly as essentially multiplying your power consumption in output. So instead of being able to, generate and spend 1 magic point per second, or to be able to spend 1 magic point per second out of your pool of 100, you can spend 10, but you're spending 10. So whereas previously you could operate at your normal level of efficiency for 100 seconds, you now get 10, but you're 10 times stronger during that period. Neat. But it was explicitly called out, like, your body can't handle that for long. So while you can put out 10, it's hurting you to do it. Which, cool, okay. This is this is not even necessarily a desperation move, but it's meant to be a try to win kind of move. Cool. Very quickly, Kaioken just becomes every now and then Goku can turn red to move faster. Initially, like when they first introduce it, do they follow the rules tightly? No, but that's fine. We're talking like action. We're talking like action movie rules here. So, they say it will only last 10 seconds, but boy, we can stretch those 10 seconds for a whole season if we need to. But, they put in the effort to show, like, this is costing him to do it. And he's wearing down faster and faster the more he pumps into it. But that show in particular is pretty rife with, we introduce something, we say that it works this way, and then we almost immediately turn around and say, actually, no, wait. And that has happened more and more as it goes along. I think largely because they just can't pace themselves. But back around to why I bring it up. Lit RPG rules with level up systems or worlds. Often those stories start to break down because they power creep themselves into a corner. Well, the Ice King. Hey, What do you think you're doing, getting rid of all that beautiful snow and ice? That took me ages. Okay, maybe not that long, but that's only because I'm so good at it. Ice King being a recurring antagonist. He's more of an annoying neighbor than an actual threat. Is he something that the people would be perfectly fine with being completely rid of? Yes. In a modern setting, he would be arrested and put into jail. He is a problem, but not insofar as like people are like heavily damaged, but he is a active disruption and nuisance. In setting, if it were in the real world again, he would be in prison for a very long time. He does a lot of kidnapping. But there's this degree of... He's presented as a child with amazing powers. He is an old man, but his... like, the way he interacts, he's kind of on the same... He acts on the same mental level as Finn and Jake. And they are not social titans. Ice King being the character that eventually we see their narrative connecting with Marceline. And seeing that... seeing a connection between them, like her history with him, and the reason that she's always very morose about him. It's her relationship with him is framed in the way of a friend or a loved one developing dementia. And her having watched him go from the friend she knew to the Ice King that is. There is one particularly sad set of scenes of her trying to remind him of that, of effectively who he was. And he's presented as like a antagonist, but again, it's in actuality, as far as the setting is concerned, as far as how people interact with him, he's a nuisance. He's a city-level pest. He's a member of Batman's, like, B list as far as the Gotham villains that get tossed out, you know? And I mean in their original incarnations, not some author picked them up and tried to make them badass. You know, your condiment kings and the like. might be apparent, everything in the Candy Kingdom will have some sort of like confection theme to it. Like the building slats here are kind of candy bar slash biscuit. There's another spin-off of this. I don't know how long it ran. So you have the Adventure Time leads are Finn and Jake. There was an episode of Adventure Time where effectively we have them finding a fan fiction written by the Ice King, which is The Adventures of Fiona and Cake, which is largely the Adventure Time world, but, gender swapped. Which all of the characters. The gag at the end is that eventually they have the characters stop and essentially praise the Ice King, how amazing he is and whatnot. But I believe that eventually got at least kind of a little mini season to itself. We're getting there. Can hear. See if she can be seen. Could see her walking away from it. The little black rectangle in the back is a TV that plays a stream that is a loop of like birds and squirrels at feeders kind of stuff. And Ember likes it the most. She's really into that. Every now and then I'll just hear her like trilling and wailing away at that screen. She has done her mighty huntress routine, so now she has come over to sit on my shoulder and rest. Actually, you're pretty handy with that thing, aren't you? Little goody two shoes. Two legs. Oh, okay. Whole series. Nice. Couldn't recall how long it went, Silent Night. But welcome nonetheless. Probably gonna need the platform to get all of this. Oh. There we go. I plugged something in and it hit the low power mark. It's kind of neat that ultimately the concept of Fiona and Cake is still, they are different characters. They live in the same kind of, the characters all live in the same sort of narrative niches, but they are different people. Again, I haven't watched that spinoff, so for all I know, they botched it and they made them the same people. But yes, today is power washing and random narration about both Adventure Time and whatever happens to be on my mind at the moment, as is tradition. The current plan, though, we're going to do 1 or 2 streams of the Adventure Time stuff, however long it takes us to finish that. Then there's some extra content on the base game. We'll have to see if we haven't done that. I don't think we have. You're right next to the window here. You can hear something moving around. Interesting. Now, based on the narration, the text feed, I believe Finn is in there, and potentially the proprietor is in there. So that may be them moving around inside. Like it sounds like there is like speech or vocalization of some kind happening in there, but it's so indistinct I can't tell. So far, this is another one that is... It's meant to be standalone, standalone of the base game. So it seems like you are given full kit, and that there isn't really an expectation that you need that full kit. Like, with whatever washer they've given me at relatively close range with yellow, we're just stripping this away really quick. The intent very likely being that if somebody, picked up the game because they wanted to play that DLC, that they can just do it, that they don't need to play through the base game and, level up before they can play. You bet. Make use of that beverage that I've got next to me. It's one of the things I find nice about this set of games is that it is kind of easy to trance out playing them. You're not playing this for intense action sequences or mechanics or anything like that. It's just, you kind of experience it. Okay, so we know it is, it was apparent before we arrived, as soon as we arrived, because of, the very clear this was ice blasted look of it. That the Ice King did this. Supposedly it happened after an order cleaned them out. So what will have been the thing? What will be the why? Oh, let's start hunting. A door window. Store window. There we go. Let's see that replay. Okay, Sudsy Pants, you're coming with me. If you insist on completely undoing my revenge hit job, then the least you can do is undo the reason for the revenge hit job in the first place. Maybe if you'd swung by my man cave first, we could have avoided this entire situation. Ice King's Castle. I don't know how long we have until the princess notices that you're gone, Sudsy, so we need to make good. We need to make good while we can. The whole place is covered in supremely melted cheeses and a boldly rich tomato sauce, which could only have come from one place: Pizza Sassy's. Unfortunately, I have some urgent whiz-biz to take care of in the Wizard City, so you're on your own. Okay, so the order that cleared them out appears to have been taken to his cave and deployed liberally about the walls and floors. Well, applied liberally. Is this Gunther? Or just random penguin? Our reticle is off target. There we go. Well, you can tell that it's pretty filthy. Okay. So remember, it turns pink if it is covered in dirt. We've got some work to do. Lumpy Space Princess. Hey, have you seen my handbag? It should be an Ice King's cell. Wanted to, like, leave him a little something, drive him crazy with desire. Making sure no one's taken it. Ice King kidnaps and imprisons the various princesses of the areas with the general intention of convincing them to date him. He's that kind of guy. With a couple of exceptions is one, he's... Yes, Silent. The especially when you're extensively using the tools, how it looks like you're just hovering. Ice King gets that sort of like, you know, I just want somebody to love me, but ew, you're too ugly, go away. Lumpy Space Princess is one of them. Lumpy Space being both a place, but also a descriptor in that they are lumpy. They tend to have nodules. So there's that factor, but also that Lumpy Space Princess is just kind of awful. I'm getting more, the distribution of the cheese in sauce is kind of haphazard. Put another way, the cheese and sauce are highly disconnected from each other in these splats. We do have, let's see, purple footprints. We have the blue jelly sludge that was on Marceline's base as well. Great. Defined areas. Ice King's definitely frequently used workout equipment. Molly and Sherbet snuggling up together. Molly has taken to trying to claim my desk chair as her own if I leave for too long. Read as, too many minutes. And now I believe, having witnessed that, Sherbet has realized, boy, that chair looks comfy. I'm going to start doing that too. And all of that culminated with me walking in and finding both of them in the chair at one point. I mean, at least they're sharing. It's good that Molly essentially turned out to be a I don't care, let's be friends kind of cat. As long as she has not been frightened. Oh. I wonder if you could actually play that. I do. I think that's one of the things they did relatively well with this series is they took, like, based on the early presentation of it, there's clearly a lot of, like, world building retcon that went on, but it isn't the sort where it feels like they very actively went back and essentially undid narrative. It's that they went in and they returned to and fleshed out characters in writing. Like, it doesn't change the fact that Ice King is still a goober of a pest. But they created a situation, they made it so that you can look at it and see, this is why the guy is this way. And I don't mean from a justification perspective, but I mean this is what led to the person that you see before you. And while it doesn't change like how he actually behaves, it turns him into a much more tragic figure. because it's on the surface, again, kind of Saturday morning cartoon villain in that, but also a person whose mind has been as they've been their mind has been fading to the extent that they have regressed to a point where Finn and Jake are effectively their social peers. And you can see a lot of that in the environment around them. It is just kind of it's kind of a young man's room, you know? But to the extent where these are things that he interacts with that are fun, but I think that they're here because they're fun, not because they're his things, you know? I mean, I completely forgotten that Lumpy Space Princess was holed up in my cell. She must be behind all of this. She has a history of going hard on pizza whenever she needs to get over some rando dude. And here I've been, parading around in my new winter robe, oozing unavailability. Poor girl's fallen for me, hook, line, and sinker. They don't call me the Princess Whisperer for nothing, you know. Hello, Sky. Hello. A lot of green glops. Then whatever. Okay, beans. There's also beans. The nature of the facets in the outlines could sometimes makes it difficult to see where the segments are. And listening to the audiobook of the light novel where the Saga of Tanya the Evil anime came from. And at the seventh book seems to be where I don't know, exactly what went down with it, but what I suspect happened was the whatever deal or whatever they had with the original voice actor for the English dub ended because suddenly different voice actor doing the reading, which is always painful when you've been listening to a series on audio. They do a serviceable job for the lead. The voice they use for Tanya, just fine. Everybody else's voice is substantially different. Everybody else. And there was a moment that showed either that somebody in the production of the audiobook was sloppy because the voice actor didn't do a voice for one of the prominent characters accurately. In that this was the voice of one of the two kind of major female characters. There are several, but let's say of the three major female characters, one of them they did as like older guy. And eventually the voice is changed to fit appropriately when the text explicitly indicates that character is female. Like you encounter a line where they address it so that there is no confusion. This character is female, and they update the voice from then on. But that's so you didn't get like a list of characters, they didn't give you a list of characters, or did you just have to sit down and wing it? My glob, Ice King said what? Whatever this was, it's so totally over. Lumpy Space Princess speaks in a really sneering Valley Girl. I mean, it was over anyway. We're like long gone, but nothing can hold down these lumps. And there is an image of Lumpy Space Princess. She is a hovering, lumpy thing with limbs and a face. Ultimately, visually, she comes across as a purple cartoon cloud. It's got that sort of like, series of spheres mushed together. What's your problem, Sky? I know. I know. I know. Sky demands attention. Come here, you. Oof. Oof. His tail is smacking the mouse right now. Intensive back scratches. One thing I do miss from the first one is where if you held your cursor over it. Now, the reason that this is that in the first one, the different materials that made up the grime would change how you interacted with it. So in this case, it might be that you can still get this is that the sometimes the sprayer will go over a substance and parts of it will be more durable to the spray than other parts. In Powerwash 1, when you held your cursor over it, it would tell you what that particular layer that you were looking at was. So, this might be beans, So we can't see that anymore. Largely because the soap is no longer typed. Used to be that you had different soaps for different materials and whatnot. Lumpy Space Princess has a lot of... So, again, she is one of those characters that is... She is written to be very obnoxious, and to the extent where she will make herself a problem. Her family is presented as being very supportive and loving, and she is very harsh towards them. Now, is it, possible in that sort of narrative that it just looks like they are, but that's only, surface deep? Yeah, but this series tends not to do a lot of... There tends not to be a lot of bluffing going on in the writing. There are surprises in their reveals, but Lumpy Space Princess just kind of stays awful. She's that friend that, she shows up, or you feel obligated to invite her, but nobody really wants her there. But they don't want to be rude. Ever feel like you're that friend? So notably here, a lot of times, cartoon prison cells are very kind of ad hoc, but this is accurate. The bars in this cell are wide enough that that frequently, as presented, the inhabitants of the cell could just walk out whenever they want. There is some variance. I mean, this is definitely from the same era that you can tell different animation teams were brought in to work, throw man hours at the problem. But in general, this is another one of those aspects is well, I have this cage because that's where the princesses get locked up, but it's there because that's a thing that would be there. I have the drum set because the drum set's fun, right? No, I still think so. Again, the ending of the series is definitely a shift. That they effectively went out with a bang. But I still think the essentially the Ice King and like his historic relationships are the real gem of this series. Lots of good stuff, but if I had to pick, like, personally the best, it's that. And if for no other reason than the mental decay, the watching a person you loved cease to be that person, to become somebody like foreign to that person you grew to love. That is not a theme that gets explored often. New job unlocked. Party God broke broke us all out or whatever. He showed up after Gunter brought over all the pizza from Pizza Sassy's. I think Gunter planned it. Like he was asking the party god for something while Ice King was off doing his magic tricks or whatever. Party god is a thing. The party god looks like a floating wolf's head wearing a backwards baseball cap. Three small changes in combat in 14. I mean, the first one would be fewer buttons. The second one would be fewer trash fights. And the third one would be more mechanic-based fights instead of just whack them what with sticks fights. All of those are reasonably small asks as far as system implementation. A big one. Oh. I mean, we've talked about it. The big one would be essentially just revamping the whole idea of classes and leveling. You know, here's your kit, go play, as opposed to you are going to slowly accrete abilities that constantly redefine how your class works. Fundamentally redefine how your class works. I find that big one being less interesting, though, than the others, because I think the others cover a lot of ground. I mean, if they actually execute on that, that'd be pretty cool. Getting that done would require two things, is actually doing it the first point, and then surviving a whole expansion cycle without backtracking. Because their whole model for developing classes for expansions, or adjusting classes for expansions, has been Add more buttons. Even if they recently reduced the number of buttons, those buttons are coming back. So sounds cool. I hope they actually do it. And you know, at least as far as dev teams go, the one behind 14, I trust to at least make an effort to follow through. Sometimes they're slow and they are frequently painfully unaware. But when they set out to do, they tend to actually do. And you know, for trash mobs, I think it ultimately comes down to instance construction. My issue with them is that the way that they're set up is you are encouraged to roll them all into a big ball and kill as many as possible at once, while like everything that's happening is just a big glob. So none of the mechanics, none of the effects are really individually tangible when you're doing that. It's just spam AoE until the enemies go away. And I don't think that's a good mechanic. If you actually have this is a non-boss fight and you encounter it before this door, that's fine. Simple. Catchy. Keep going, Sudsy. I think I've got something. The removal of group buffs and like effectively timed damage surges, I think is a good thing, because those are the only reason this button exists is to add another layer of complexity to a rotation. Is when this button is ready, now you get to do that's when you want to use this, so the whole thing starts to like contort around that button. And this doesn't count like, you know, fill up the meter, then you get to do the thing. I mean, when I press this button, I get a plus 10% damage boost. Yep. We've spoken to that before. It's looking at game design as what do I have to do to be given a cookie and what is that cookie is is a good way to approach gameplay. It's what are you asking me to do and how will you reward me for doing it? And a lot of times you run into problems where it's the thing you are asking me to do is not what I'm being rewarded for. A little something I whipped up to pass the time. Have you read it yet? Do you like it? Tell me it's good. There you go. That is the little fan fiction that Ice King wrote that led to the spinoff. In the original version, it ultimately halts with, and then everybody just like mechanically stops and starts praising Ice King up and down. It is the archetypical terrible self-insert fan fiction. Which was comical because up until that point in the story that was presented as part of the fan fiction it was actually pretty good. Like, solid story within this world. Totally works. Like, we're almost through with the normal stream time frame. This game always eats way more time than I'm aware of, you know? And I think that's always a good indicator, at least in the games I like, the where did the time go factor is a big win. I sat down to play and I just started enjoying myself and didn't stop. Getting there. Gunter didn't realize that for Party God, anything other than Hawaiian pizza is a party foul. So yeah, they ended up, like, everywhere. Or Gunter, even a babe like me knows how it feels to pull out all the stops and have it thrown back in your face. Brad, why did you do this to me? See, for me, the thing that I don't like about that is pineapple, but that's because I'm not a fan of pineapple. The flavor is okay and the texture is not great. Like a replacement sweet thing, maybe? I don't know, but I get the concept. Now, just, pineapple and ham on with marinara sauce? Yeah. I'm still of the mind that most marinara sauce that you can get on pizzas is too sweet. And I don't, hate the idea of a sweet on a pizza. Savory sweet combo is a thing. But the sauce, I don't necessarily want to be the sweet part. I like my marinara sauce a little spicy. Little spicy. Like he's got the little collapsible cloth hamper here. Big ol' leopard print blanket on his mattress with his little sketches taped to the wall above it. Finding the correct parts of the ceiling that are actually a facet, For a while, the delivery place that was near me was Domino's. And one of the things that Domino's offered for a while was essentially a pretty in-depth pizza builder. And not the, you get to pick your topping but it was the full, like, before some of the others did it, it was pick your crust, pick your sauce, pick all your toppings kind of thing. And one of the things that you could pick that I always liked was Alfredo sauce. Worked really well with any of the, like, generally pepperoni that I like, but, you know, sometimes sausages or like a sausage and ham kind of thing. Though sausage is a vague term since they're the sausage that you get when you say sausage on a pizza is a grab bag, because the term sausage itself is wildly vague. Be like on a menu, it just says sandwich. Well, we gave you a sandwich. Just saying sausage is similar. Because technically, if you ask for a sausage, they could give you a hot dog. Now, there are some places that will say kind of a sausage type. And that's useful because there are differences. Now, whether that will be apparent based on what terms they use to call them still, yeah. But sausage continues to be one of those highly variable pizza toppings. You have to know what that franchise or what that particular pizza place considers sausage to be as a topping. $74%. Oh, I saw. I put it on my Steam wish list so I don't lose track of it. But I saw a game that was very, very clearly Danganronpa inspired. You know, you have to identify a killer. There is a debate. There's a sinister animal creature, and what I presume it's the people going to get executed based on the presentation of it. One of those styles, but it looked like all of the deductions and whatnot played out as things like one of them had a deck builder look to it. One of them looked, for the life of me, like original Donkey Kong, with a caption in it as how did we know that the knife came from the kitchen? complete aside, was watching, I had watched some tool-assisted speedrun videos. And that tends to also lead to the feed getting folks posting like their own, like, oh, this is me playing through on max difficulty kind of stuff. And personally, when I see a video like that, when I go into it, I expect when a person says that they're playing on highest difficulty, that they are demonstrating their skill at that. What I don't expect to see when I click on a, playing this game on the hardest difficulty level is for you to be getting wrecked. No commentary, no like editing or anything, just a raw playthrough of you doing badly. Why did you post this? This isn't even a matter of like, you aren't giving me context for what I'm supposed to be taking away from this experience. See, so Gunsey did all this, did he? I'll have to squirt him with the spray bottle the next chance I get. Maybe I'll get you to go turbo with that nozzle of yours. And like, if you're making the video as a look how good I am at this, then, you need to incorporate that. But even then, I'd like to see something more than just I finished the level. Like when somebody is demonstrating human capability at it, I'd either want it to be, that I am watching that person do it, which means I want them to be present in the presentation of it. I don't mean like a face cam. I mean their presence, their speech, something. Some degree of editing that says, look, this was me that did it. So otherwise, it's just, this is an arcade demo reel, I'm watching the game autoplay to try to tell me to insert a quarter to play. It's just that this particular demo reel is for a game that is very clearly one that I'm not going to play as a result of said demo reel. Though I don't know, maybe these are like paid actors. Maybe these are people that are posting videos in kind of a guerrilla fashion to the, those mobile game ads where somebody plays a stupid, simple game really, really badly and makes a big deal about how hard the game is, how challenging the game is, because there is a known advertising principle that you can essentially enrage people to try to prove that they're better than the idiot in the advertisement. Maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe these people have been like paid to suck really bad at the game and post videos about it. Heat signature. Under the ocean, no one can hear you die. I mean, one of the things that still, all the kudos to the folks that made that so you want to play those games. A game that is a mashup of all of those stupid little fake games that show up in the mobile ads for, you know, gotcha, wait and see style games. Was that they saw, like, no, hey, here, you can actually play those games that they're showing you. And they actually took the effort to make it so that they are, I wouldn't say like it's the most challenging experience, but they actually made them into a game and expected you to work out the solution to the various things, or to, you know, do the actual puzzle. A very, very flat pair of briefs there. I'm tempted to try out that Pragmata game. Seen and heard very good things about it. And we live in a very strange time in that one of the things that you can do to determine if you might like a piece of media is to find out why various groups are hating on that particular piece of media. Like, what is their reasoning? Because often you can look at that reason and say, but that reason is a positive thing for me. So if you hate it because that's there, that means that thing is there. Or at least the shell of that thing is there, you know? You can't just take them at face value, of course. For example, there are lists that you can find of that are things like these games are woke games that you want to avoid. And the reasoning is often all over the place. I mean, shocking. These are masters of discourse that we're talking about, but one of the ones that got me, Monster Hunter Wilds, was listed for DEI practices. Amongst them included things like celebration of other cultures' food. Like they presented these other cultures' food as somehow better. No, they presented it as delicious. And let's all be very honest with ourselves about it. It actually became a thing. Cheese naan became a big deal for a period of time after Monster Hunter Wilds because, like many of the other games that have realized that we can just show amazingly delicious looking realistic food and people will have a good time, they made that look really, really good. And so people liked it. Ice King. You know what really hurts, though? Beyond the betrayal and the cleanup costs? Why wasn't I invited? I have moves. What's Gunter got? Tiny little flippy flappy leg enders. They're nothing compared to my heavily sculpted thighs. But to the point, apparently Pragmata's getting a lot of hate for for presenting a male character as, you know, willing to effectively selflessly care for a orphan child in a fatherly fashion. Science fiction computer. Yeah, I acknowledge you, Sky. I do. So far, there hasn't been really any call for the ladder. But that's one of those aspects, is you can approach these in a lot of ways. Hey there, Xerox. Welcome. Doesn't ring a bell, but that's more about my memory than anything else. Welcome nonetheless. We're doing some Powerwash Simulators Adventure Time DLC. Ah. Still been doing some of the coding. We'll be back to it soon enough. Oh, there's our snail again. Sherbet play area, Sammy and Ember in the tree, Molly across from the keyboard. Sky pouting behind me. A pyramid that just has eat under it. And one of those concepts that's kind of funny if you remove it from all context. It's the idea of a food pyramid. Yeah, making some progress there, Xerox. Effort and analysis. Very cramped alcove, this one. Distance from targets is, and paired with coverage, makes the yellow kind of where we're at the moment. So a majority, well, ostensibly, what we came in here for was that there was pizza everywhere. And the explanation for that is that the penguin ordered a great deal of pizza in order to convince the party god to come here. Again, reasons unknown. The party god, though, considered the fact that it wasn't Hawaiian pizza an offense and proceeded to scatter the pizza everywhere. But we also have this purple goo, the blue goo, and the green goo, as well as a big pile of beans that are not accounted for in that explanation. The blue goo has appeared in at least 2 locations so far. Hello, Afton. There's a patch on the floor somewhere. Molly is a sleepy kitty. Around the drums. Let's feature pretty prominently. 1 stalactite. Nightstand right there. Kind of a suction cup noise when you move these. There we go. All right, replay. Very nice. Very nice. Do without you, Sudsy. Now leave. Back to the Candy Kingdom with you. You can tell Bubblegum that I found you surrounded by lemon children and saved your life. That should keep her sweet. All right, though. That is going to do it for today. Ran a little over, but it was also one of those scenarios where we didn't really stop. We just played. Nice and relaxing. We'll probably do a little bit more of this. Ideally, I'll get another session set up for tomorrow. But it was good. It was good. Just a relaxing, chill game and some chat. Well, folks, if you like what you saw and would like to see more, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment. All that stuff helps the channel grow. And my mind has left me. In any event, folks, I hope the rest of your day is good, and I will see you next time.